Welcome back to English 4.0, the radio show. Let's go! Advanced. Yes, welcome to Advanced Class 38. Here we are in Advanced Class 38. Starting off with a little review of what we saw yesterday. The phrasal verb. Everybody likes phrasal verbs. Don't you love phrasal verbs, ladies and gentlemen? The phrasal verb to run out of. I ran out of sugar. I was making a cup of tea and I ran out of sugar, so it tasted pretty darn bitter. My tea tasted very bitter because I didn't have any sugar to put in it. It needed sugar, but I didn't have any because I had run out of sugar. So I didn't have any to put in my tea. So to run out of, quedarse sin, but it's running out, it means it's becoming depleted, and then I'm out of sugar. I'm completely out of sugar. I ran out yesterday. Now I'm out of it. I don't say I am run out. No, I am out of sugar because I ran out of it yesterday. Okay? We're not running out of time for this class. We're only about 1 minute and 12 seconds into the class. So we're not running out of time. We're not going to run out anytime soon. So keep listening because we're just starting this class, this advanced portion of today's program. We're not running out of time. I'm not running out of food either. In my house, I just went shopping at the supermarket. So because I was running out of food yesterday, I realized I was running out. So I went and I bought more food. So I'm not running out now. You're running out of excuses, young man. You don't have any excuses left for your bad behavior. To run out of excuses. How often do you run out of bread? I run out of bread about once a week. I run out of bread. I buy those loaves. The loaf, we say, a loaf of bread, which is, as you say here, the American-style bread, like un bimbo, pan bimbo. You know, the bread in a loaf, that's big rectangular block, let's call it, is called a loaf of bread. Sliced bread, typically it's pre-sliced. I've noticed in Spain, the people in Spain love bread without the crust, trimmed crust. The crust is the outer layer, and they like it with the crust removed, I've noticed. It's very typical to see that bimbo bread with the crust already cut away, and that's something I don't think I've ever seen in Canada. We like to eat our crust. And I think it's a shame to waste the crust because the crust is a nice, tasty part. It can be very delicious. So I encourage you to try the bread with the crust on, the loaf of bread with the crust on, rather than the crust having the pre-trimmed crust. Anyhow, ask me if I ran out of Coca-Cola yesterday. Did you run out of Coca-Cola yesterday, Kyle? Yes, I ran out of Coca-Cola. I had to make an emergency trip to the store because I ran out of Coca-Cola. I was out of it for about 1 hour, and then I ran to the store at top speed and bought another 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola. Ask me if I'm running out of questions. Kyle, are you running out of questions? You've been talking about this structure for about 3 minutes and 55 seconds now. Are you running out of questions? No, I'm not running out of questions. I have many, many questions. Ask me if I'm worried that I might run out. Are you worried that you might run out of questions? No, I'm not. I'm not worried that I might run out. I've got plenty of questions. Okay? Now I want to talk about the verb to remember. Remember to plus infinitive and remember plus gerund. I recently recorded a radio show. I have a show on Mondays and Fridays from 6 to 6:30 called The Verb Circus. And I recently recorded an entire show. I spent 30 minutes talking about this, about the verb to remember. And I also talked about remind. Remind me to talk about the difference between remind and remember. Okay? So remind is basically to help someone remember something. So it's external. Something outside that causes you or someone to remember. Okay? Whereas the verb to remember, on the other hand, to remember, acordarse de. Remember is internal. Okay? Remind is to help someone else remember or not to forget. Remind me to call her. Okay? My Spanish students often confuse the two, probably because in Spanish the verb recordar has two uses. No recuerdo bien donde lo puse. I don't remember well where to put it. And recuérdame llamarla. Remind me to call her. Okay? In the first case, no recuerdo bien donde lo puse. Recordar is used exactly like acordarse de. I don't remember where I put it. In the second sentence, recuérdame llamarla, the verb is used in a very different way, in a very different sense, and this is where we use the verb remind in English. Remind me. In summary, remember, acordarse de, and remind is essentially, to remind is to help someone else to remember, or not to forget. Okay? I remember living in Canada. I remember seeing him, but I can't remember his name. Okay? But that's not really the point of what we're talking about now, because the point is to talk about the verb to remember. Remember plus infinitive, or remember plus gerund, the ing structure. So we use remember with the ing when we're making reference to a specific memory. Whereas, I remember living in Canada. I remember visiting Toronto. I remember visiting New York City, and I remember seeing the Statue of Liberty. Okay? Remember too plus infinitive is when we don't want to forget something. No olvide llamarle. I didn't forget to call him. Or I remembered to call him. I didn't forget. I remembered. To infinitive. I remembered to call him. Okay? So we have some important differences. And it's interesting. I think it's an interesting verb. The verb to remember. Remind and remember. Why don't we try a little bit of translation with that verb? How about a little bit of translation? Are you ready? Let's do it. Translation. All right, I'm going to take a segment here from my show, The Verb Circus, which, by the way, we've just released a CD here available in the Vaughantienda. Online, vaughantienda.com, or online in the shop itself, the Vaughan store. It's €10 for 20 programs in MP3 format. Great for the car. And I spent a half an hour talking about this verb, and we had some translation. So let's try a little bit of translation. No me acuerdo de su nombre. Number one, no me acuerdo de su nombre. I can't remember her name. Very good. Number two, siempre hay que recordarle que tome su medicina. He always needs to be reminded to take his medicine. Number three, recuerdo haber visitado las cataratas del Niágara cuando tenía 7 años. I remember visiting Niagara Falls when I was 7. Number 4, porque siempre tengo que recordarte que estudies. Why do I always have to remind you to study? And finally, number 5, lo olvidaré si él no me lo recuerda. I'll forget if he doesn't remind me. Good. Okay. Well done. Well done. I hope you got all those right. Good. Expression of the day. Well, it's time. Yes, folks, it's time for our expression of the day. The expression of the day today is a sitting duck. A sitting duck is someone, un pato, sentado. A sitting duck. A sitting duck is when you are a target for an attack and you cannot help yourself. You're a sitting duck. Like imagine a duck is sitting there and you are a hunter. If the duck is flying, he's difficult to hit. If the duck is sitting still, he's very easy to hit. So you are a sitting duck, means you're a target that you're very easy to hit. You're a sitting duck. So imagine if we're in a war and we say, if we don't advance now, we will be sitting ducks. They know we're here. They're going to attack us. If we don't move, we're going to be sitting ducks. We don't stand a chance. We're very vulnerable here. We will be attacked and we will not be able to defend ourselves. We will be sitting ducks. A sitting duck. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our expression of the day. A sitting duck. Very good. All right. Now we can practice with some dates. With some dates here, we say BC. Antes de Cristo se dice before Christ, or BC. Mientras que después de Cristo se dice Anno Domini. It's obviously not English. In the year of our Lord, or AD. AD. Some people have said that it means after death, but not really. It's Anno Domini. So the Latin, but essentially we have before Christ, BC, and then after AD. So ask me when the Roman Empire fell. When did the Roman Empire fall, Kyle? When did the Roman Empire fall? Well, the Roman Empire fell in 476 AD. Yeah, the Roman Empire fell in 476 AD. It fell. Yes. Ask me when Confucius was born. When was Confucius born? He was born in 1551 BC. Confucius was born in 1551 BC, right? BC. Very good. Now, let's go back and talk about, we have this grammar, but it's very simple. When was he born? I was born in Canada. I was born in 1980. It's true. I'm not that old of a guy. I was born in 1980. AD, of course, not 1980 BC, right? But here we have this structure, BC, before Christ. I'm going to give you some history, a brief history, according to Kyle, of some facts, some things which may be relevant to you, maybe not. Starting with some things BC, before Christ. Okay, Rome was founded in 753 BC. Jerusalem was destroyed in 587 BC. Babylon was taken by the Jews in 538 BC. The death of Socrates took place in 466 BC. Paper was invented, very nice invention, over in China in 116 BC. Clever, good one. Caesar landed in Britain in the year 55 BC. He was killed in 44 BC. Now after AD, the death of Augustus, 14 AD. Jesus Christ was crucified in 33 AD. Claudius visited Britain, 43 AD. St. Paul put to death, 67 AD. Jerusalem rebuilt, 131 AD. Okay. Yes, pens were made of quills. So we made some pens in 635 AD. So it's interesting. Paper was invented in China in 116 BC, but then it wasn't until 635 AD that we started making pens out of quills like a feather. So I wonder what we used between 116 BC and 635 AD. I don't know. Glass was invented in England just a few years later. About 8 years later, glass invented in England in the year 663 AD. Yeah. There you go. A little history. Time to move on. Vocabulary of the day. Well, yes, it's time for the vocabulary of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Araña. ¿Cómo se dice araña? Spider. Spider. Now, not spider. No. Spider. Spider-Man. Not Spider-Man. No, eso no vale. Spider. Chalet adosado. Townhouse or terraced house. Sure. Comodidad. Convenience. Encantador. Delightful. Suave. Templado. Mild. Very good. All right, we're going to move on to a structure that I really like here. To be accustomed to something, which is the same as to be used to. To be used to something. To be used to plus gerund, ing. I am used to my phone. Okay, I'm used to plus either a noun or the gerund. I'm used to my phone. I'm used to using my phone. I'm used to dialing with my phone. I'm used to receiving calls with my phone, and I'm used to making calls with my phone. I'm used to sending messages with my phone, and I'm used to receiving messages with my phone. It's the same as saying I'm accustomed to my phone, but we use used to 10 times more often than we use accustomed to. So let's try to get used to using this structure. I'm not accustomed to speaking Chinese. So give me the equivalent in used to. You're not used to speaking Chinese. You're absolutely right. I'm not used to speaking Chinese. They weren't accustomed to the cold. Yes. The German soldiers in the Second World War, they weren't accustomed to the cold. They weren't used to the cold. Okay, she wasn't accustomed to the weather. She wasn't used to the weather. Right. I'm not accustomed to his accent. I'm not used to his accent. No problem. It took him a long time to get accustomed to my way of doing things. It took him a long time to get used to my way of doing things. Correct. He's not accustomed to my style. He's not used to my style or your style. They're getting accustomed to it now. They're getting used to it now. Used to. Very good. We're out of time. But thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to finish the show now, but tomorrow I'll be back. Same time, same place. My name is Kyle. Thank you so much for joining me. Keep listening. The more you listen, the better. It's a question of exposing yourself to more and more English all the time. Keep listening, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.